welcome back. If you haven't figured it out, Democrats in the House are clearly not happy with the Attorney General, Bill Barr. The question now is, what are they going to do about it? Joining me now is one of those Democrats who will be deciding what to do about the Attorney General. It's California Democratic Congresswoman and House Judiciary Committee member Karen Bass. Congresswoman Bass, good to see you.
Thank you.
Well, the Speaker said he lied to Congress. First of all, I'm curious if you believe Bill Barr has indeed lied to Congress. And second, if this is worth a criminal or even civil referral.
Well, I do think we have a lot of steps before we get there, but from what I heard in his testimony in the Senate, absolutely. I mean, he said that there had been no communication when it's clear that Mueller had sent him the letter. They had talked by phone. He even talked about notes. He said he would refuse to give them to the Senate, but, you know, he had said that there had been no communication, so he contradicted himself. So, absolutely. But I do think that we have a long way to go before we get to that point.
Well, what is that long way to go? I mean, I tell you, there's certainly, I heard from plenty of people to say, why did the House Judiciary Democrats, you know, why didn't they call Barr's bluff and just say, all right, fine, well, we won't let committee staff question, just members, let's see you up here.
Well,
why not call that bluff?
Well, that wasn't the only issue. And so, you know, we have issued, we'll give him a while. He has a couple of days. But it's really about the documents. It's about the complete unredacted report and all the underlying evidence. So him coming and testifying before our committee is something that we wanted him to do, but far more significant than that, especially given the way he appears before committees, far more significant than that is him giving the documents that he should give. And even Mueller agreed that he should give the documents. We also want to have Mueller come before the committee. We want to have McGahn come before the committee. We don't want to be completely distracted by Barr.
Well, let me look. The ranking Republican on the Judiciary Committee has an idea of how to help you get more of these records. I want to play what he said this morning at the hearing first and get you to react. Number 6, guys.
Well, they want it to play out this way because they want it to look like an impeachment hearing, but they don't have the fortitude to bring impeachment hearings. In fact, if he would bring the impeachment hearing, then he would have access to all kinds of documents, irregardless of what the Attorney General's accommodations have already made for him.
Oh,
Congresswoman, he's got a point here. If you formalize the impeachment inquiry, you become like a grand jury. You get access to all of these. It is then basically that's your way of trumping Trump in this case.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the bait that we're not going to take. And so, to me, it is very clear there's many steps that we need to go through in this process. Now, I can't say that we won't do that for sure, but I am certainly hoping that at some point in time, this administration decides to abide by the rule of law. And so if the court says you must give the documents over, then I'm hoping that they would be willing to do that. But at this point in time, you know, we don't know. The verdict is out.
Why do you call it bait? Why do you call it bait? And what more? How much more information do you need? You think this is politically a bad idea for the Democrats then?
Well, absolutely, especially right now. I mean, I think that the ranking member would love for us to jump into impeachment, and you know the chaos that would pursue from that. And so, you know, to me, the idea of us pursuing impeachment when we know it is a two-step process makes no sense at all. But what we need to do is take it a step at a time. We need to be disciplined in that process, and that's the way we're going to proceed.
So you're going to try the courts and see if they agree to what the courts say? How does this work? Where do you think this goes? If he refuses to turn over these underlying documents, where do you go next?
Right. So refusing to comply with the subpoena, then the next step would be, you know, we would definitely proceed with taking it through the courts and seeing what happens, you know, whether we issue a citation of contempt. But we have several steps to take. If the court orders them to give us the documents, which we believe would happen, and then they still say no, you know, it's possible for us to hold them in contempt. We can do that in the House. We can do it on the floor of Congress. But I am hoping that they don't force us to go along that way. But we do know that this is a president that has essentially...
You keep saying, I hope they'll go down a different road. What evidence makes you think they're going to suddenly choose compliance, voluntary compliance here? I don't mean to be that cynical, but I've become that cynical.
Well, you know, I mean, at a certain point in time, I think when public opinion begins to be impacted, that if his poll numbers, and you know this, you know that as soon as the report was released, his poll numbers began to drop. I think he is all about his poll numbers, and I think the senators are as well. And you and I know that there's over 20 of them that'll be up for re-election next year. And at some point, they're going to have to say that they did something other than carry the president's water. And so if they feel that they're beginning to be compromised, then maybe we could talk. If he was seriously threatened with impeachment, I think he'd love to see impeachment happen right now, because he knows that we would not be able to carry it through all the way, and he would simply begin to campaign on that. We don't want to see that happen.
I mean, go back to the idea of Mueller testifying.
Yes.
Do you think it's going to happen if it is up to it sounds like the Justice Department gets to decide whether he comes or not. The Senate Republicans don't want to see him. So it seems as if that you guys are going to be alone in asking, and it sounds like Justice is going to feel comfortable denying it. What do you do?
We'll see. I mean, you know, Barr said he was okay with him testifying, but there's also McCann. And you know what? At some point, I am wondering, will they step up and essentially say, you know what, we're going to tell the truth to the American public, period. I was impressed to read Mueller's letter to Barr, basically saying, what are you doing? You're creating confusion. Release the report. I would love to see, if he was told he couldn't testify, that he would come and testify anyway. I'm also thinking that all of those people that put all of those hours and days and months, 2 years, developing the Mueller report, that they might break rank and come forward as well. At some point in time, this is about our democracy. This is about our country. And I am hoping that people's jobs are less important than fighting on behalf of our democracy and our country.
Congresswoman Karen Bass, Democrat from California. Much appreciated. Good to have you on to share your views.
Thank you.